And now, to cap off the show, we're going to review Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore recruits magic zoologist Newt Scamander and others to help him stop the powerful dark wizard Gellert Grindelwald from seizing control of the wizarding world. Now, as cool as that may sound, the movie itself was not. Kind of floored by how this movie was 2 hours and 20 minutes long, and it was just bland. It had no impact whatsoever. I just felt like I felt nothing. I'm surprised by how little I felt watching a movie that's in the same universe as Harry Potter. Again, I've mentioned on this show before that I'm a diehard Harry Potter fan. Grew up with the movies when I was younger, seen them over and over and over again. And it just goes to show just how far the whole Wizarding World franchise has fallen. 3 Fantastic Beasts movies in.
Star Wars. Yeah, I'm in a very similar boat as you. I'm not a big Harry Potter fan. I've said that before, but I respect and appreciate the franchise for what it's done culturally and in the media and how much love and the support it has really as an entity. But going in and going out, I was already a bit mad because I recently saw Fantastic Beasts 2 because I've heard negative things mixed, if not more negative things about the second one. So I stayed away from it for a few years, and recently I was like, you know what, we're gonna be seeing this one. I need to see the second one, and I'm like, when I say I recently saw it, I mean this past weekend, like right before the movie, almost, weekend before. Like, it is very fresh in my mind, and I didn't even like that movie. The whole third act just felt like a bland mess of CGI, honestly.
I'm gonna be honest. I saw the second movie when it came out in theaters, and however many years later, don't remember it. I just know that Johnny Depp was Grindelwald. There's not much else. That's it.
Yeah, and for me, going into this, I was already a bit skeptical, if not a bit excited, because to me, Fantastic Beasts 1 and 2 kind of planted certain seeds that I was interested in. And then the third one kind of is shat on itself.
Yeah.
And again, it goes into and I think here's a great way to put it. And this is not my words. This is someone next to me during the movie. As we were closing into the final acts, the person next to me, a woman, and I can tell between their back and forth with her and her boyfriend, they were really big Harry Potter fans. At the end, she was like, "What is this? This feels like a big fucking fan fiction." And I was like floored, but like, I was cracking up.
Yikes.
She made my night.
Yikes. My God. That's rough.
But it was it felt weird. The editing was off. I actually saw some continuity errors in the beginning that I was just like, that felt odd. And no disgust to Mads Mikkelsen. I love him. He's awesome. He's a great actor. I really like him. But him as Grindelwald did not work for me. Johnny Depp was in that role for two movies that it felt very... even the character of him felt different, mainly as if they're trying to change him to fit Mads, but it just didn't work because, again, it was your 2 movies in was an established character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I haven't seen Mads Mikkelsen in too much. I just remember him as like the lackluster villain from Doctor Strange, but I know he's been in a lot of other things, and I know a lot of other people like seem to be big fans of him. I wasn't crazy about him in this film from both a character point of view, or I guess from a performance point of view too. Grindelwald should have been more menacing. He could have been more menacing. And I just didn't really feel that intimidation factor with him. And again, like, I compare him, of course, maybe a little bit unfairly, to Voldemort from the original Harry Potter movies. That's a villain right there. Holy shit. He was, again, he was scary, he was terrifying, he was intimidating, he had gravitas, he had charisma. Grindelwald in this film had none of those things. He could have and should have been more menacing, could have been a better villain, more of a force to be reckoned with, but he honestly wasn't. And again, same thing with Dumbledore. I felt like he needed more gravitas too. Again, looking back to the original Harry Potter books and films, he was this wise figure, this powerful figure with gravitas and, again, charisma. Again, he was a great foil to Voldemort before, of course, he gets taken out, and Harry, of course, has to take his place. But as far as like the two powerful wizards, like he was a great foil to Voldemort. And in this film, Secrets of Dumbledore, that just wasn't the case. I feel like Jude Law could have been a great Dumbledore.
Oh, for
but
sure.
he wasn't. And I think again, between Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen, I don't think it had so much to do with their casting. I think it has more to do with the direction that they were given.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it's like you can cast great actors, right? And sometimes they can make something terribly written good, but at the same time, if it's terribly written, you can also notice it, and I think this movie kind of solidifies even that perspective a bit more, because again, Mads Mikkelsen, Jude Law, great actors in my eyes, but just what they were given, even certain lines of dialogue just felt cringe, and I can't believe I'm saying that with this type of movie. And it felt very lackluster. And I also want to talk about one other character, and this is Ezra Miller's character. Despite everything going on with him, just his character alone, he was the one thing in the Fantastic Beasts trilogy that actually interested me. And I was actually pretty interested in where they were going. And again, this felt like they just didn't really develop him. They did all these time skips where stuff happened, but we're not really with the characters. And I feel that Credence was a big missed opportunity into something bigger. And you put it best, and even the chick next to me, the girl next to me, said it best too. Very lackluster. I felt nothing. Did I get up in my seat a few times? Yeah, because some of the visual effects were pretty cool. Like,
yeah, honestly, that's one of the things that this film actually gets right. The visuals, by and large, I have to say, are really nice to look at. I like the color scheme. The gray and black look really nice. The VFX themselves are solid.
Yeah.
There's one other thing that I honestly feel like this movie actually managed to get right. Was the whole Secrets of Dumbledore thing. This film actually earned its title.
It did.
I actually liked what they did with Dumbledore. I liked how they explored his background, his insecurities, and I liked what we found out there, because it made him feel more like a full-bodied character along with the rest of the Harry Potter films. Because again, in like the original films, he's mostly like this powerful, almost unstoppable figure.
Yep.
But
absolutely,
seeing this part of him, the mistakes he's made, the things that he has regrets for, he became more human. So I really liked what they did with him. I liked the reason that Dumbledore couldn't go after Grindelwald himself. I actually really did like that. I thought that was an interesting way to go about that, because towards the end, when he is able to do something for whatever reason, I feel like it reflected something deeper in his conflict with Grindelwald. So as far as like the relationship between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, I honestly liked what they did there. The problem with this movie is, it felt excessive in a lot of ways too. It was paced very slowly, very poorly. It could have been shorter. A lot of stock characters that, I'm going to be honest, I really didn't care too much about. The only one character I can only say I really cared about or was somewhat entertained by was Jacob Kowalski, the Muggle, who ends up getting his own wand. I really like him.
Yep. And again, even when watching Fantastic Beasts 1 and 2, the main character, Newt, I wasn't big on him. I actually didn't really like him all that much in the first two. I was not so... I kept watching because I liked Jacob, actually. Because I felt that he had a bit more going for him compared to other characters. And again, even in Fantastic Beasts 3, this one, certain characters that I did like, or like, okay, they're going somewhere, they kind of sidelined. And then introduced new characters that just didn't feel as important as they should be, other than plot conveniences. And I think even what they're trying to go for in certain ways, you can predict it. Not saying predictability is a bad thing, but just I think this movie could have been and done more. I think that's the biggest thing. And
I feel like it could have just hit harder. It really could have just hit harder, and it just didn't. And I feel like there were a couple instances where it kind of relied a bit too much on nostalgia, because I remember there were just certain scenes where the music from like the original films was put in there. I feel like a certain Hogwarts professor makes a couple of appearances, and I'm like, all right, I feel like you're kind of banking on this nostalgia thing yet again. Like, this could have been done by like any other character, like that sort of thing too.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. Wish it was better. Could have hit harder, especially for as a third one. It's a trilogy, but
well, here's the thing: it's a trilogy right now because again, like as we saw, and again, I don't want to give away too much, but they had the perfect opportunity to keep this as a trilogy.
They did.
But something happens, and I'm like, nope, it's gonna be another one.
Yeah,
and I'm just at the point where again, they should stop making these movies, and it sucks. Because they had the opportunity to end this, and they didn't. And once again, it just shows how far the Wizarding World films have fallen since Harry Potter.
Yeah, it really does. It's so crazy because it's like, and I've mentioned this to you. I was like, a part of me felt like this movie is going to feel like, for Harry Potter fans, as a Star Wars fan myself, is going to feel like the Rise of Skywalker for them.
Honestly, and I said this before too, I'll take the Rise of Skywalker over this. I feel like there were certain things that I feel like the Rise of Skywalker got more right than this movie. You know, I felt like I was more invested while watching the Rise of Skywalker than I was watching this.
Dang, you're a Harry Potter fan.
I'm a much bigger Harry Potter fan than Star Wars fan because again, looking back at the original Harry Potter films, right? And again, like, you know, this is 3 Fantastic Beasts films versus 8 Harry Potter films, right? Okay, then, you know, I'll say just within the first 3 films alone, there are certain scenes that you remember anytime that, you know, you watch the movies, you know, you anticipate. You're like, okay, this scene's coming up. This is gonna be cool. Love this scene. Not just with the first 3, but obviously throughout the rest of the, you know, the other films in the original movies. And with Fantastic Beasts, I don't have that same feeling. Like, there's just not nearly as much to remember at this point with Fantastic Beasts than there was with the 8 Harry Potter films, even just the first 3 Harry Potter films in.
Man. You heard it here, folks. As a Harry Potter fan, he didn't like it.
Yeah. Like this is the first one. And like I said, it gets a couple things right. But this is the first one where I'm like, you know what? I feel nothing. This is the first Harry Potter movie that I'm watching where I feel nothing.
Yeah, it was disappointing to say the least. If you guys want to see it, go ahead. For me, as not much of a Harry Potter fan, I was also a bit meh. Joe, I don't know, man. These franchises, I don't know what they're doing to them.
Yeah, they're honest. They're beating a dead horse. That's what it comes down to. They're beating a dead horse at this point. They need to move on and find something new. You know, just let certain things stand. Because again, like, it just feels like with these Fantastic Beasts films, they're just stretching things too thin. The only thing that I feel like should, like, the only other, like, Harry Potter source material off the top of my head that I feel like should be made into something is The Cursed Child. Like, that was the play on Broadway. I have the play myself. Read it. Awesome. Can't wait for that to be made into a movie. But Fantastic Beasts, like, that needs to stop. These Fantastic Beasts need to be put down. So for anyone who did get a chance to watch the movie, what did you think? Am I being too harsh on the film? Like, you know, are you in the same boat as Darius and I seem to be? Leave your thoughts wherever it is that you can. And just like that, that's all we got for you today. So, as per usual, don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to get all notifications, whether you're on YouTube or wherever else you may get your podcast. And tune in next week for our review of the revenge epic, The Northman. We'll see you then.